What's up, everyone? Welcome to Real Steel Podcast. I'm your host, Ken Yance, here with my good friend Landis, and we're about to recap last week's game and kind of talk about what's going on around the league. And was fortunate enough to go down to Atlanta and watch the homeowner opener. And we missed you, Landis. I know you were planning on getting down there, and things didn't quite work out. But man, we had a great time down there, and it was basically Pittsburgh South, man. How'd you enjoy the game?
Man, watching that game on TV, it was all good.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it was a good time, man. I honestly, you're always kind of nervous in the season opener, man. Like because you really don't know exactly what you got. You know what I mean? And all these other teams make their adjustments. They had new offseason acquisitions. You had some new pieces, new offensive coordinator, new pieces on defense. You got a couple of rookies starting on the offensive line. And we didn't really gel and come together. Everybody really wasn't together um, in the preseason much, and they're right there, like basically one series in the last preseason. The offense got together and went down the field. Everything looked great, but that's kind of a small sample size to really know what you're going to have. And then obviously the drama that seems to always linger around Russ, um, and him kind of being ruled out right there at the very end. It was kind of frustrating, I think, because I know as a play caller, a former play caller for years in football, it is very difficult when you have two totally different style quarterbacks because you're basically running off of two different game plans, and to not know what that is, and obviously that trickles down to the team, and nobody really knows what's going to happen. So I'm sure there was some nerves there on the sideline, kind of getting started as well.
Yeah, well, I guess my biggest take on the game was at first I was questioning the play call, but like you and I talked previously, it was a conservative approach, but sometimes you just look at a game and say, you know what, a win is a win is a win. First game, I'm going to take it and move on to the second game.
Well, as we kind of would assume from the pieces and how we played last year, the defense was going to be a big piece for us. And after the first series, I'll be honest with you, first series I was worried, man. They were running the ball on us and kind of controlling things up front. But like Coach Tomlin said in his interview, it's really just kind of like that first game jitters and stuff, and that kind of wears out off after, one or two, trips out there on the field, and that's really what happened. We started kind of holding that edge. They were running that outside zone a lot, and they were getting that double at the point and moving us back and really attacking Highsmith. And I think they're really, high on their left side of their line, and so they were really kind of hammering us over there early on. But then we, made the adjustments we needed to make, and I think it helps a lot when you don't have a running quarterback. We were giving them
Oh,
fits
yeah.
because of that. We were running a similar play with Najee, with that stretch. But the problem is you can't overcommit to that front side because you got a guy that's going to hurt you if he keeps it. And so we really started closing down our gaps and getting where we needed to get. And after those first two series, I felt like we really – I know they had a touchdown drive, but it really didn't ever feel like they were going to be able to sustain any real offense against us.
Yeah, they were never a threat to consistently say, we're going to take this ball and we're going to take advantage of you guys.
Right.
So, I guess overall, what I was impressed with was the fact that, like we talked preseason, we're both tied to 3 and outs on offense.
Yeah.
And what I saw was Justin Fields and the offense was able to extend drives and keep the defense fresh. And with that fresh defense, you saw how they could dominate.
Yep.
Atlanta never really stood a chance in that game with Kirk Cousins. I've heard, my son's a big Falcons fan, and he's like, "Well, Daddy, they didn't want him to get up on the center. Well, you know what? That's not Pittsburgh problem.
Mhm.
We're going to take advantage of your weaknesses." And to me, of course, and I don't think you'll disagree. Um, Really, someone would get a game ball to Chris Boswell,
Mhm.
but it would be hard to argue T.J. Watt.
Right.
I mean, that guy was a beast the whole game, and I know one of the Houston Rockets guys, I think it was Abari Smith, tweeted out, "Hey, that dude needs to be drug tested." I laughed about it, but I mean, I told you, man, I didn't know who T.J. Watt was when they drafted him, and I'm like, man, he's he's amazing. He truly earned my respect last year. So you
Well,
know,
I've got a friend of mine, and I've had some connections with the Steelers through, my profession and just people that I've, known. Um, but I remember when they drafted TJ, and this person, this very close with Coach Tomlin and a lot of the players. He's tied in with Clemson a lot. So, at one time Martavis Bryant was there, and so he was really affiliated with them and up there around the team a good bit. And he says, "Ken, what do you think?" Because he knew I coached and everything like that. He said, "Man, what do you think about us taking T.J. Watt? Like, what do you think about that guy?" Like, and the vibe was coming from the team that they didn't think they should have drafted him. Like the team didn't really think that he was going to be what he ended up being. Um, they thought it was just because of his name. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's coming from an inside source that felt that the players felt that way. But he just came in and went to work, man, and just you can't. There's just immeasurables in football. There's a couple of guys there now, the Beanie Bishop, the Peyton Wilson, that there's immeasurable things. I personally think that Peyton Wilson could end up being an all time like Jack Lambert type level, um, you guy for our team at some point if things pan out. But he's got that mentality, and you can't measure that, man.
right? Well, I'm thinking he's going to grow into a Kevin Green and just become that vocal leader on the defense, and just he's going to be vocal, but he's going to let his play exemplify what he does. I mean, and I think you agree. To me, he was the steal of the draft,
Oh
and
yeah.
anyone that doesn't understand football will disagree with that because they only know the big names. But
Mhm.
we can sit here and dissect this game and say, we could have done this better. I was more disappointed because I think we should have had more interceptions. Especially that first drive when Atlanta threw it straight to, can't remember the kid's name, but it hit him off the shoulder pass. But I think he was surprised that it hit him on the shoulder pass. Um, but
Well, you know what they say about DBs: if they could catch, they'd be receivers.
that's right, and that's why when I chalked this game up, I just say, you know what, it's a win.
Right.
And hey, Chris Boswell got me 26 points in fantasy football across all three of my teams, so I'm not going to complain.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, even though we didn't score touchdowns, and I've seen a lot of people, same old, a lot of chat groups and stuff, oh, same old Steelers. But it's different. It's different. Like
It is.
there's potential. You know, I think Justin didn't take a lot of shots downfield, but he was very accurate when he did. Like he didn't put the ball. There was never a time that he put the ball in harm's way. Um, he was late with some throws. The first, he fumbled the first snap, which I hate when he goes under center. I just don't trust it.
I,
The
I
kid
I agree. I agree with
he
you on
probably
that.
never
I
he
think
probably never went under center in high school or college, and now in the NFL he's trying to do it. And so that's tough. But he made a horrible throw. His first throw was ridiculous, and man, it's like, oh my god, like what are we gotten into? And then he settled down, man. And he managed the game, and he was late with some of those boots when he came around on the side and actually give up the ball. And I think that if you go back and look at it, he kind of checked down to that tight end quick. I think there was some stuff working on the backside that as much space as he had, he probably could have read high to low and made some bigger throws down the field. But the reality is, man, we were moving the sticks. We were controlling the line. Man, that center, absolutely. I went back and watched film on him earlier today. I forgot what podcast it is, but they actually have the all 22 film, and you can actually watch it like a coach. And that Frazier kid is a freaking stud, dude. Like
Oh,
man. And so when we have that kind of control up front, man, it's now. I think our left and right tackles are both in the wrong spot. I just don't think that we're playing everybody where they need to be. But I'm not paid to make those decisions.
right.
But man, I was thinking about this too. We talked in the one of the earlier episodes about the impact of the rookies. Roman Wilson would make a difference on this team. Like Roman, as that number 2 receiver would make a difference, because I don't think nobody's really going to garnish that much attention, but Roman is going to be that dude, I believe. And Muth is going to be pretty much, he could do what Heath did. You know what I mean? Like Forrest. I mean, he could be that guy that solid blocker, good hands, ball control, catch some big first downs, when you need them. And he can be
Right.
that guy. He's not going to be a Kittles or Gronkowski or one of those crazy acrobatic Kelsey. I mean, those guys are a different level of athlete. But I think we've got the pieces. But when you get Roman Wilson back, I think that's going to make a big impact. But when we were talking about the rookies, man, look at the last 2 years at the rookies that came in that were undrafted. I mean, you think Jalen Warren was undrafted, and now Beanie Bishop, man, Beanie Bishop was showing out there, man.
Well, you've been high on him in the preseason, and Kenny, I didn't know nothing about him, so I just had to respect what you said, and overall the secondary, I can't complain about nothing secondary down Sunday. Um, but I love our front seven,
Oh man,
and um, you know, I don't know. Like I said, we got the win. We talked about this in the preseason. There's games as Steelers fan we feel like we should win, and that was one game I felt like we should win, and,
well,
we did it.
here's the encouraging thing is that we did, you spend so much time watching stuff and reading stuff and studying, hey, what's the team doing and what's Omar doing now and like who are we bringing in and learning about these players in the draft, and you spend months and months and months and months, and all the work that's went into it. It's kind of like you go out there and you venture out on your own recipe, and like you don't really want to follow another recipe, so you start adding stuff and throwing this in there and baking it for this long at this temperature, and then you just hope like hell it tastes right. like you don't know, you hope it is. Like I
Right.
think this recipe was good, but we don't know till we taste it. The reality is, man, we lost to some bad teams, some 2-win teams last year in
Yeah.
New England and the Cardinals. And
Arizona, New
so,
England. Yeah.
man, like for us to come out there and beat teams that we're supposed to beat, hell, that's an improvement.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, do we want to score more touchdowns? Yeah, but the reality is we controlled the front on both sides of the ball for the most part. That's something the Steelers have not done. We've had to smoke and mirror people on offense.
Right.
Now we can actually line up and just smack you in the teeth and just say, "Here we come."
I'm
So
with you.
that's really encouraging, man. So next, let's talk about around the league, man. What's going on? Obviously we're AFC North guys, and right now everybody's 0-1 except for you know who. um,
I'll take
so
that.
and it's early. I'm not by any means acting like that's gonna, be the indicator for the rest of the year. But if you look at within our division, which is what I would like to focus on mostly, because that's really what we control the most. But um, you know, the Browns are in trouble, man. The Browns are in trouble. The line is trash. Deshaun Watson may be getting into some more legal stuff that he may lose time on the field. Um, and I know I brought that to your attention, and we spoke a little
Yeah.
bit about that. I don't want to make it the Deshaun Watson show, but just on the field, um, that was probably. I know you're a Clemson guy, so don't take this personally, but it's really probably one of the worst contracts anybody ever signed in the NFL. Like, to pay him the most highly paid, and he's not done anything for them to recoup that, like, at all. Um,
Well, I'm not gonna disagree on that.
you can blame somebody on the line, but man, it's just a lot of inaccuracies and a lot of just routine plays that are there. And sometimes you start seeing ghosts, man. And I think that's what's happened to DJ. Not to get too far away from Steeler talk, but I think we were talking about that. I think that's what happened to DJ. DJ just sees ghosts, man, and he just, you got so many bad experiences that it's hard to, I know that from golf. I go to a golf course, I play much better now, but I go to a course that I started playing on years ago, and I have nothing but bad memories. So I get on that hole, and even though I'm a different player, it's like the atmosphere and the looking out at the hole. It's like, dude, I remember hitting in those woods all the time or into that lake all the time. And it's like it's hard to fight, those ghosts, man. And I think that that's what I was worried about Justin Fields is Justin gonna at the first sign of things breaking down, just break out, like, go in full, like, you know, just
Well,
free
I,
game mode.
I think Justin went through his progressions fairly well, and he bailed whenever he needed to,
Right.
unless it was a called run. And I think for the first time, I think in his NFL career, he feels comfortable with what's in front of him.
Hmm.
And now I think it's just a matter of time of them continuing to gel together. And I I would like to see Russell Wilson get a fair shot, but I think at this point with this line being youngest to this, with what we had to put in place, the Justin Fields' escapability gives us more options to do more things.
I'm on the fence with that, Landis. I'll be honest with you. I feel I was encouraged by the pass protection because the Falcons have a pretty good front. Um,
Right.
they got some dudes up front, and we did a really good job of keeping uh, keeping Justin upright. And the time that you give Justin to throw, you got to give Justin more time to throw because he takes longer to process the information and to pull the trigger.
Right.
Whereas Russ Wilson, you could give him that much time. And from what he just faced in Denver and what he was facing a lot right there at the end of Seattle, that's going to seem like an eternity. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you got to think, what can Russ, with his experience and the weapons that we do have, um, because even without Roman there, I mean, obviously Roman was a rookie and he's unproven, but even with Austin and Patterson and obviously Green and Fryermuth, and even out of the backfield, I mean, if Justin makes a clean throw to Najee right there in that first or second series, man, he one or two DBs was going to have to tackle that guy, or he might have housed that thing. And so,
Yeah.
what can Russ do as a more polished quarterback that can read and really utilize the time that Justin was given Sunday? Because Justin had all day at times,
Yeah.
and he really did, man. And in Russ's defense, he's not had that kind of protection for a few years now.
Well, you know what? You're right. But they have Justin to start this weekend, right?
Yeah, because Russ isn't available, and
Yeah.
and I don't think we go wrong either way. I would
Right.
just think that with Russ's experience, um, you still have Justin there to bring in for the packages and things of that nature. And knowing Russ is basically, he played hurt in Denver. He's already hurt his calf, in non-contact stuff here.
Right.
So Justin will probably end up getting back in there, but I would like to see Russ with a good offense around him and just utilize that experience. Because I mean,
I'm
we
with you.
saw it, you know.
I understand.
So I would definitely, like to see that myself. But anyway, the rest of the league, what do you think? I mean, I nobody really. The Chiefs look pretty good. The Ravens, I think, are going to be still the team to beat. The Bengals, man, I don't know what it is. I just don't trust Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I just don't trust them. I mean, I
Right.
just,
Well,
they're just
let me say this about the Ravens because I watched the first half of that game. I don't understand their play call. When they were doing the read option with Henry and Lamar Jackson in the first quarter, Kansas City couldn't stop them. And in the second quarter, you go away from it. And not only that, you take Henry out the game for most of the snaps. So I didn't understand that. And, work because of work, I went to bed at halftime. So um, I,
I tell you what you don't want to do is turn Lamar Jackson into a running back. You're paying him
yeah,
too much money. Um, and I mean, there for a few years, he couldn't make it through a whole season. You know
right.
what I mean? Yeah, I know he's a big, strong kid, but man, running back's different, bro. Like, so if you start giving that guy 15, 20 carries, Coach Tomlin talked about it today because I think a lot of people assumed that a lot of those plays were zone reads um, on Sunday but they weren't. That's just him carrying out his fakes. Those were actually designed handoffs, a lot of them.
Right.
So Tomlin actually, kind of cut up a little bit and said, "Yeah, I love how people, assumed that was a zone read, like, and it wasn't even a zone read. It was just, him carrying out his fake." But anyway, man, the Ravens are still going to be tough. They got some weapons. Their defense. I mean, obviously going against Mahomes, you don't know how good your defense is because he makes everybody's defense look bad at times. So it's kind of hard to tell, but they didn't lose enough for me to lose faith that they're going to be a good team. And I think once again, it's a race between us and them. I don't think the Bengals and Browns are going to be factors. Looking around the rest of the league, I mean, I think Philadelphia looks good, man. Saquon Barkley absolutely had a flashback to being at Penn State, I think.
Well, let me throw this at you. Do you buy or sell Dallas? Is that an overreaction against the Browns, or was the Browns just that bad?
They're the Browns, bro.
Okay.
I mean, let's just call a spade, man. When is the Browns ever good, bro?
I mean, hey, you're right. Hey, I had to ask.
I mean, and here's the thing: how many times in the last 20 years have the Cowboys at times in the regular season looked like they were going to walk away with the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Like you're like, go ahead and put it on the dang trophy, Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl champs. Like, go ahead and size them up for rings, man. But it just don't like you until you do it when it counts. It just don't jive with me, man. So you know, the Prescott thing. Dak Prescott is just a different a different shade of Tony Romo. He's a regular season he's a regular season phenom, man.
Hey, I can't argue with you on that.
But it is what it is, man. But no, I'm not buying no stock on them cats yet. You got to give me a little bit more time. Now, winning formula, man. Let's talk about the Steelers, where we're at. The way Arthur Smith, the design of the offense. How the defense is layered. I think at all three layers, I think we're better at linebacker. Um,
Yes.
I think our secondary is I I wouldn't really take our secondary anybody else's secondary over ours right now, honestly. Like overall defense, I'm not saying it because I'm a Steeler fan, but when I look at it in at every layer and I look at all of them and grade them out, man, I would not trade our defense for anybody else's in the league right now.
Hey, there's a reason I made a trade in fantasy football. The guy needs a starting running back. I think I wanted Pittsburgh defense, and I gave him Gus Edwards from
Mm,
the Chargers.
right.
And you know, um, Pittsburgh defense, I've got to have them every year regardless because they're consistently they're gonna do this. But this year I felt different because I felt like we'd be able to keep our defense off the field. And even if we ended up punting, we were going to get at least 6 to 8 plays where the defense could get some rest, which is what we've been missing the last several years. So that's the thing I felt good about Sunday. We like I said, we can dissect that game however you want to. But if you truly understand Steelers football like you and I do, you came away and said, you know what? It wasn't pretty, but we got a lot to build on. And man, when Peyton Willis, just that one play showed me what his future could be. And, TJ Watt is TJ Watt. I mean, you had 3 leaders on that defense on all 3 levels. And
you got new guys, Patrick Queen. You got
Kenny, I didn't even mention him.
Yeah.
So
Ogunjobi is back and healthy. Like he was a man child out there the other day. Like him being back is big.
I'm going to tell you who else played really well. Nobody talks about, and that was Montravius Adams.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep. Man, and I followed him since he thought he was coming to Clemson. He ended up going to Auburn, but it is what it is. But he's still, so that's all I can judge him for. But man, I think this team they're going to surprise people if we can stay away from injuries this year.
Well, and I don't think people understood. I don't think people really had a good understanding of how good Elliott is at that other safety position. Like I don't think that people really understood, man. If you don't really watch football around the league, you don't understand how good that guy was, man. To put him back there beside Minkah, and you got a lockdown corner in Joey Porter, like you're borderline, like you have the opportunity to be like an all-time elite defense, like right now, because of the formula of what we have. And again, like you just said, to your point, man, is like stay healthy. But that's every year with every team. I mean, you just don't ever know what's going to happen. But
that's football.
Yeah, that's football. That's definitely football. But around the league, man, it's kind of early, so it's kind of hard to tell.
Right.
And then as far as like our formula, I do think our formula changes a little bit if Russ does get in there. Obviously, you lose the legs and stuff like that, but I think that, like Coach Tomlin always says, it's about making the routine plays routinely. And that's what Justin Fields seems like he still struggles with that. Like he'll make a great throw 50 yards down the field, but then he'll miss a wide open guy for 8-yard comeback on the sideline and one hop it to him. And it's the routine things. If you put that ball in front of Najee and don't spin him around, then
right.
he pushes at his stride. So
Kenny, I just you're a quarterback coach, and I'm more, I know it's college. We both watched him in college, but I just think at Chicago, he was just given. It's like this is his rookie year, and he's getting the field. And don't get me wrong, I want Russell Wilson to get his fair shot at quarterback. I have no problem with that.
Right.
But I do think Kenny. I got you on my mind. I think Justin Fields is the quarterback of the future for Pittsburgh.
Well, if he develops and can do the routine things, I would love to have him, because then he would basically become a younger version of Russell Wilson.
Right.
You know what I mean? And Russell Wilson was my favorite quarterback for a decade because of how he uses athleticism for good and not for evil. And you saw that with Justin today. He did. He used his legs in certain times. I mean, they had some called plays for him, but it was really to buy time and to kind of and he doesn't do it overly excessively. Like
he was a smart runner.
Right.
And that's what I was telling you. In the preseason, I thought at Chicago, he just ran for his life because he had to.
Right. Right.
And now his running is situational.
Hmm.
So I'm still sticking to my preseason prediction. Um, I would love more than nothing to sweep Baltimore because I do think we should beat Cleveland. We should beat Cincinnati. I know I'm jumping ahead, but I'm after Sunday. I'm more excited about this team.
Well, I'll tell you this. I guess because I coached for so long, I try not to look down the schedules too much. That's great to talk about in the preseason, but like right now, everything for me is kind of like the mindset that Coach Tomlin has. Like, what do we got going next week? Like, just let's focus on them because as we saw last year, you can look down too far ahead and lose to a an Arizona or a New England. So
Right,
um, right now, looking at these guys, heading to Mile High, you got Bo Nixon and obviously Coach Payton and Sean Payton and so man, they tried to throw it around. It looked like the other day, and that didn't work out for them too great.
yeah, it 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 really didn't.
But I think if I don't know. I mean, you don't ever know what's going to happen, man. It's still early in the season, but if the defense that showed up in Atlanta shows up in Denver, I don't know how they move the ball and sustain any offense. I mean, I think Atlanta
Right,
probably would have had a better chance to move the ball probably than because you did have you say what you want about Cousins. He does read defenses. He has seen a lot, pretty much everything there is you can throw at him. Just stuff wasn't there. Like just stuff wasn't there. Did he force some balls? Yeah, but if he don't force those balls, they're just going to punt it. So there, I mean, it wasn't like he was missing wide open guys. And now you try to take that same defense that gave him fits, and now you're going to throw that at a rookie quarterback. It's going to be a tough day for those guys at the office. And then offensively, I just think that ground and pound. I don't see anything on the defensive side of the ball that Denver has that's going to stop us from being able to do exactly what we did to Atlanta. Um,
right.
so I don't see. Hopefully, we get in the end zone a couple times. I mean, that'd be good. Um, but I see this being like a 24-27 to 10, 6, 9, 12, something like that.
I give them 13.
Yeah. All right. Well, you being nice to them because on when they kick it, it carries a little bit further. So we'll give them a
Right.
little long kick. Um, man, Boswell might kick a 70-yarder next week, being up there with the as much as that ball flies up in Denver.
Man, look, that dude got me between him and Pittsburgh defense. They got 40 points across all three of my leagues, so I'm not complaining.
Man, the defense might score like the defense this year might score as much as our offense did last year.
Guess what? We'll we'll take it.
You ain't lying, brother. Yeah, it would be nice to have some games where the backups get in the game, late in the third, early in the fourth, and we can sit over there and drink Gatorade and enjoy it. But the NFL just isn't built that way. It ain't like that's why I like the NFL more than college because it's usually a grind every week, man. And if you let off the gas, it's
So what's the status on Jalen Warren? I didn't get a chance today. I was working solo, so I didn't get to
I
give
mean,
up.
he's got his hammy, man, and he's able to participate. Like, is he 100%? No. But is he, a high enough percent that he can get out there and participate? Yeah. So, it is what it is. The good thing about, you know, you don't really need Jalen a lot anyway, because the workhorse is Najee, right? Najee can get
Right,
you 20,
right,
25 carries, and then you just bring Jalen in for a change of pace. So if he can give us 8 to 10 snaps on third downs and stuff like that and
right.
get a few touches, man.
And the thing I like about Najee Nance, he's running. He's not doing that Le'Veon Bell waiting for the holes to happen. He's knowing the shoulder pass and running the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and I'm hoping I wish we'd have paid him. I wish that would be off because I pay attention to his social media, and he's made
Right.
posts each time somebody got extended contracts or something. He posted it on his social media, like when they signed Cam, when they signed Fryermuth, and even other guys around the league. It's like just random that he just signs guys that were holding out, you know, to get
Right.
contracts, and he didn't get a contract extension, but
Do,
he didn't hold out or nothing.
do you think that was motivation?
I think he's going to play very motivated this year. I mean, I think that he really loves Pittsburgh. He really wants to stay there.
Right. Well, I'm saying, do you think Pittsburgh done that for motivation for him?
I don't know that the Rooney's play that game. I mean, they might with guys that historically are those attitude type
I
guys,
guess.
but Najee, man, is a team guy, like through and through, man. He's from what I hear, everything is he's first at the meetings, man. He's the last one off the field at practice. Like he's, you know what I mean? Like everything, he is like pro A to Z. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know that you have to do that with Najee. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
guess.
so I don't really know what that is, but except I know that backs historically are kind of interchangeable um, in a lot of ways because there's a lot of good backs out there. I mean, by position, there's a lot of good backs. You know, I mean, there's guys you don't even know of; they just ain't had a chance. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and really, backs it's hard to consider that a back is just going to be a 10-year like stud that's going to stay in there and like just keep carrying. You know what I mean? Like it's not very often. Guys just fall off all the time. Um, it's not like an offensive lineman that you're going to get a good 10, 12 years out of those guys. The average, life expectancy for a running back is the shortest of every position in football. It's like what 3.5 or 4 years is the
Right.
average. So usually you don't spend as much money on those guys. You don't, spend high draft picks on them and stuff like that. But it's not like he's holding out like Le'Veon Bell did. You remember Le'Veon was like being
Yeah.
obnoxious. Like, yeah, I mean, I lead in receiving and I should be paid as much as the second receiver and the damn running back. Like, dude, what do you just go play? Just go play football, dude. Like, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense, man. So, but no, I'm hoping that I hope we keep him. I mean, I named my pit bull after him, so I don't want to have to change Najee's name if he goes and becomes a
Yeah.
Raven.
So, I don't think Najee Harris going nowhere. I think they'll do right, Bob.
Yeah, we historically do. Now, what we do make mistakes on is holding on to guys too long at the end.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I would think that they were dealing with Cam Hayward. I don't think they wanted to be in the situation they've been with other guys and give them that last contract they don't perform. But I don't think Cam Hayward is that guy. I think Cam Hayward, and he showed it, dude. Like when Cam, dude,
He
there was a
really
stretch.
did.
Oh my God, dude. There was a stretch. He was being double teamed, and while he's being double teamed, he just reached down and just grabbed the running back. Like, like it was amazing. But yeah, I love me some Cam Hayward, man. But anyway, well, man, great episode. Anything
Yes,
else you want to
sir.
cover before we get off?
Nah, brother, I think we good.
Well, man, we're going to try to keep these down to 30, 40 minutes. We're right at 40 minutes now. So we hit
Yes,
it
sir.
right
One question: where you watching the game at Saturday?
on.
Sunday. I'm sorry.
Sunday. Usually right here on this 85-inch, man. Like,
Okay.
but I think you mentioned something about y'all having to get together over there.
No, that's for the Dallas game.
Oh, that's for the Dallas game.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you're welcome to come over if you want to. I'm gonna smoke some wings as usual.
Well, if I can get my wife past Najee, we may come over.
Najee's the sweetest dog you ever see, man. You know
I
that.
I know that, but I'm Kenny. I'm just telling you, man. It ain't gonna happen.
All right, man. Well, we'll figure something out, brother.
We'll talk about it, but and enjoy the podcast tonight.
All right, man. We'll see you later, brother.
All right. Take care.
All right, later.